Blog Talk Radio.
Hi, welcome to Fix Michigan Mondays. This is your host, Wayne Bradley. I want to thank everybody that's listening in today's show. We've got some great guests coming on today. We're really getting close here, folks, to election time, so I advise everybody to pay a lot of attention to the people you're voting for. Make sure you understand exactly what you're getting when you're voting for these people. So with that being said, here in Michigan, it's looking like we're going to get a lot of good people in at the top. It'll be very interesting to see how all the state reps run, but Rick Snyder looks to have a commanding lead over Verge Bonero, which I can't say that I'm surprised at one bit. There's a very stark difference in between the two candidates. You have Verge Bonero, who rallies and gets, he's the angry mayor, and that's exactly what he's continued to do through this election cycle, which is be negative towards Rick Snyder, not really stand on his own record, but takes more time to criticize Rick Snyder than he does to actually talk about the things he's going to do. He's criticized him about shipping jobs and having businesses that are international and having offices in places like China, when he's done the exact same thing and actually given credits and things like that of that nature to these companies that are working in Lansing, but yet they still have those same kind of outsourcing jobs in China themselves. So it's very interesting to see how Verge Bonero has portrayed this race. They had a debate about a week ago, and if you saw the debate, you'll notice that Verge Bonero spent a lot more time talking negative about Rick Snyder. You have to take that as a good thing, because all he did was talk about Rick Snyder, so Rick Snyder didn't have to do much but give his vision, because Verge Bonero spent most of his time also talking about Rick Snyder. So keep up the good work, Verge. Like I said, you'll be watching this race from the couch knowing that Rick Snyder's probably going to win this race based on dealing with the issues. He wants to create some changes. I'm hoping that the Republican Party can keep him honest to his values and seeing exactly what he's going to do pushing forward. But he's definitely a better candidate than Verge Bonero, and the man has a successful track record of bringing in business. So I think that this is the kind of change that the people voted for, in particular in the primary, and it's showing that they're also voting for it the same way here in this gubernatorial election. So looking forward to seeing Rick Snyder win this race, but make some changes here in Michigan that can bring more businesses and get this state back on the right track, because that's what we need right now. The Attorney General race doesn't look to be much closer. The last poll, I believe, had Bill Schuette up over 20%. So the people in Michigan, I think, are speaking loudly when they're saying they want some changes to, wake up maybe to the Democratic Party that's been nothing but negative through this campaign, that you're going to actually have to start listening to the people and not make decisions based on what's good for you and your associates in the small few, but no, you're going to actually start having to listen to the people that are voting you in. I think it's being said loud and clear with the race with Attorney General. Also here in the 9th District in Michigan, you're going to be looking at a race that a lot of people weren't paying attention to in the beginning. Gary Peters had a lot of fundraising cash. He was one of the stooges for Obama and Obamacare and for Pelosi, so he figured to have a lot of help, a lot of backup, and he did. But Rocky Rakowski has really come on strong. He's polling a lot higher, and I think it has a lot to do with his connection he's making with the folks. Hopefully we'll have Rocky on next week's show. So we've had him on the show before, but I think we're going to try to get him on here again, either for Friday or Monday's show. But Rocky's having a real strong battle against Peters, which nobody was giving him credit for in the beginning. So again, it speaks more to what the people want. Rocky stayed very clear on the message of it not being a Republican-Democrat thing. This is a people thing, and the people recognize that he might be a better person to represent the 9th District. And again, the politicians are being put on notice that you're going to start having to listen to the people again. And also in our Secretary of State race, Ruth Johnson looks to be also in the lead against Jocelyn Benson. I expected this to be probably the toughest of all the elections, at the top of the ticket. Jocelyn Benson is a very formidable opponent. She has a lot of support amongst a lot of the liberal groups, and it's been rumored that she's also been on the target for the George Soros campaigns with the 13 states. So, I mean, she's well funded, and she's got, like I said, she has a good amount of supporters here in the Detroit area. But her agenda is so radical in comparison to what Ruth Johnson wants to do. I just don't think that that's going to carry through most of the state. She's in favor of next day voting and things of that nature, which really raise the chances of fraud and do the one thing that no matter what state, no matter what country you live in, I mean, where we live in this country, we want the integrity of our voting process intact. And definitely, I believe Ruth Johnson does a better job of doing that than Jocelyn Benson will. So the people of Michigan are definitely speaking. They're letting their opinions be known on what they're going to do and what the kind of people they want in place. They want people that are listening to the people, not making decisions based off what they think are good for their banking buddies or some building buddies or these healthcare giants. So I think moving forward, you're going to see a lot more of that, and it's good to see that the people are paying, that will get the attention of these politicians in 2010, and they'll be all on notice for 2012. So, it's going to be interesting. A lot of the new people that are getting voted in 2010 are going to have to stick to their word and not become intoxicated by the power in D.C. and the power in Lansing here in Michigan, but they're going to have to work for the people. So it's going to be a very interesting race. My first guest on today's show is a good friend of mine, someone who I've worked with in the past doing some different events. He's up for an award. He's nominated right now for a very prestigious award, and I want to welcome him to the show, David Olivencia. He's actually being nominated right now for the Americano's first annual Hispanic Forum in 2010. He's being nominated for the Outstanding Hispanic Award, and that's basically going to the Americano's Outstanding Hispanic Award. The 5 nominees are Patricia Rios Smith, Robert Romarian, Angel E. Hank Cintron, Dr. Orlando Silva, and David Olivencia. I highly encourage all of my listeners to go to the Americano.com/forum 2010 Outstanding Hispanics and vote for David. He has done some great work here in Michigan and across the country, and I encourage you to go to the website and check it out. So without any further ado, I'm going to bring on David and let you listen to the interview that we had last evening regarding this award. And we also talked about here in the state of Michigan the things that we want to do. So listen in on this interview I had with David. And welcome to Conservatives Cool Talk Radio. This is your special Fix Friday edition, Fix Michigan Friday edition, and I've got a special guest, a returning guest, a friend of mine, the president of the Michigan Republic Hispanic Assembly, David Olivencia. How you doing, David?
Hey, Wayne. I'm doing excellent. How about yourself?
I'm doing great. You've been all over the place since the last time we've had you on the show. Can you give us an update of some of the things you've been doing here? I've seen you at the at NASDAQ and all kind of things. What's going on with you?
Well, I'm involved in a lot of, whether it's my professional work in my company, a large global software organization, or several non-for-profits. I've been traveling and on the road quite a lot. As mentioned, I did get the opportunity to open the NASDAQ bill in New York through a national technology non-for-profit I sit on back in mid-August. Phenomenal experience, and through my work life, been doing a lot of travels to Latin America. Trying to help out where I can on the campaign trail. Spent a little bit of time up in Lake County, Indiana, where I'm originally from, right outside of Chicago.
Okay.
The Reagan breakfast, and just been in a lot of different places, having a lot of fun. I'm very blessed. Very blessed.
Well, can you tell me a little bit? We can talk a little bit now about this award you were nominated for, the Americano's first annual Hispanic Forum in D.C. this December.
Yeah, very very honored and blessed to be nominated to, I guess, within a group of top 5 phenomenal leaders. The Americano is it's one of Newt Gingrich Productions kind of news and media source focused on the Hispanic conservative market, if you will, across the Americas. So it's written in English and in Spanish, and they're putting together a first of a kind mega symposium with a bunch of Hispanic leaders from across the hemisphere, even reaching into Spain with President Aznar, former President Aznar of Spain. But we'll be giving several awards to Congressman Diaz-Balart, ex-president from Colombia, Álvaro Uribe.
Okay.
And have a lot of different panels that talk about issues of importance to America, to the Hispanic community, our growth, our prosperity, everything from education to the economy, immigration, to issues that are of importance to not only our hemisphere, but also specifically the Hispanic community here in the state.
Well, if people want to actually vote for you, what would be the website that they would go to so they can vote for you?
So the website is theamericano.com, and within there's an area called Forum 2010, and that's where they haven't actually released the voting yet, but that's where people can go and navigate and then place the votes. It should be within the next day or so. They should be, or actually, if this is posted out on Friday, should already be in process. So vote for me, and if you can, and it would be great if your friends would also vote for me. But also read the bios of the other people as well. There's a bunch of great leaders who are running.
Well, I'm going to make sure all my listeners, if you're listening out there, make sure you go to Americano.com and vote for my friend, who I can personally vouch for, David Olivencia, and make sure that you vote for him for this award. It's a very prestigious nomination, so congratulations on that.
Thank you, and I appreciate that. I've been pretty blessed. Wayne, my parents and my grandparents came to this country with very little money and very little English, and I actually grew up in my grandparents grew up on public housing.
Okay.
And my parents, through some hard work and focus on education and sacrifices, and been able to give myself and my family just a part of the American dream, and I love this country and love what it stands for, and there's very few places in the world where that can happen and be blessed with everything that we receive. So I want to give back, and I give back, and it's kind of very blessed, and it's very much stewardship fashion. I want to see the next generation, my kids, your kids,
right,
this whole country continue to be the best country on the face of the earth.
From a political standpoint, what have you seen going on lately that Democrats, in particular, I guess Democrats, have done to corral Latino voters? Did you think that the way they were trying to handle this immigration bill, sneaking that in, did you agree with that, or how did you think they handled that?
Yeah, there's the policy, there's the politics, there's the strategy. I tend to take a step back and always realize that that's going to go on.
Right.
I kind of come up with what I think are principles, and then let those dimensions work themselves out. The principles that I aspire to are, one is, I think, legal immigration is a good thing. Our country, if we're going to continue to remain an economic powerhouse, we're going to need more immigrants, more legal immigrants to come here and do the work. As point one, I can go into more detail on my philosophy around those who are here illegally. but that's going to work. That will work itself out. But I think I've got relatives that are working to come in this country legally, and they've been in line now for 5 or 6 years.
Right.
I don't think those who are here illegally should be able to get to the front of the line. So, I think those who committed crimes, they should be, immediately sent back. Those who committed serious crimes should immediately be sent back. The others who are here illegally should pay pay penalties, pay back taxes, etc. And to do that on a continuous basis. Go to the back of the line. So they're not, for example, not in front of my mother-in-law who's been waiting for 5 years to come to this country legally.
Right.
And then if they've done all that, they've paid their taxes, they've done all, and if they want, and they pass the citizenship test, they've done the English, and they want to become a citizen. In my opinion, I think they should have that. They should be able to become a citizen. And that's in my opinion, in my definition, that's not amnesty. Amnesty is a free ride, and what I just described to you, by no means a free ride. There's penalties, there's the back of the line,
right,
etc. So that's a little bit. I can go on and talk more and more about immigration, but that was one part of it. The other part of it was
the politicizing of the way. Do you think the left has done in this, in particular in this election cycle? Do you think they've tried to politicize it by trying to sneak in bills and things of that nature?
Yeah, I think so the other thing is right. I mean, the president made the promise he would do it in his first year. That didn't happen. You've got our Senate Majority Leader, who lives in a very very highly populated state with a lot of Hispanic residents. So there's those pressure factors that were, I think, in play to make that happen. And you've got a lot of the Hispanic community across the United States that want to see action.
Right.
So I think a big mega bill would have been difficult in this period. I think is kind of what they saw, but I thought that I think they went after that piece, which it's a little bit have some controversy to it. And I can we can already. I think one of the growing up on the south side of Chicago, I have a pretty good idea of how I can see issues from very much a 360 view and understand the various perspectives, right?
Right.
Because there was two aspects, right? One was the college students, right? Which this country, right? I think if we're gonna continue to grow, those with college degrees are in so much demand. You and I and everybody who's listening to the show pays money to educate.
Right.
And then if they leave the country and go to somewhere else, it's a waste of our investment. One slice. Those in the military, I mean, to me, that's if somebody's willing to die for our freedom and the value that this country stands for, and serve, to me that's a non, that I have, that's a pretty tough argument against, in my opinion. They're willing to die for me, protect our country, and serve the values of this that we stand for. It's pretty, at least in my opinion.
Yeah, I thought that that's good in theory. That's definitely a good way to if someone wants to serve this country, then that person obviously should be looked at that way. Do you think that again that was more just they tried to make this happen at the very end of an election cycle though?
Yeah, I can't speak for I think they have the pressure of committing to do something within a year. That did not happen, and trying to make something happen, regardless of, we have an election cycle coming up, so trying to get something in, which I think they thought was doable, as soon as they could, right? I think they found those two areas, proposed it, and try to get that through. I think they have to do, they have driving action election cycle and more losing the Hispanic vote. I think they felt they had to make something happen, and that was the route that they took.
Right. Now here in Michigan, we've got a couple exciting. We got a couple exciting races. What have you seen here in Michigan that gets you excited as far as new candidates and obviously with our governor race?
So in terms of new candidates, I mean there's a lot of exciting congressional races out there.
Right.
That you look at. I mean, just the other day the Dingles beat it. I think they're he's down 4 percentage points or 4 points on that one. And that who'd have thunk that would be that congressional seat would be in play. From our governor's perspective, I think Rick's a phenomenal leader. I think in his life, whether it's graduating at an early degree, receiving the various degrees, becoming a partner at a global, accounting firm, in I think just 5 or 6 years, which is pretty much unheard of. I mean, it's a fast track to do that in such a short time. Just somebody who's got amazing intelligence, hard work ethic, very bright, great leadership skills, great people skills, and then from there, right, to do the things that he's done in venture capital, in the venture capital space, and running some companies, and then, but I think the other thing that's not mentioned enough of, I think, is what Rick has done on the nonprofit side, and whether it's his work with Spark in Ann Arbor Spark, but also. I don't know how many of your listeners are familiar with the organization Sphinx, which is basically a nonprofit focused on bringing classical music and those instruments to urban communities, and particularly African American and Hispanic youth.
Right.
The forum for that. So Rick sat on the board there for a while. It's just, I just with kind of all that put together, I think he's going to be a phenomenal leader. Kind of bringing a different lens, outside of politics lens into there.
Right. I think that's one thing that a lot of people are looking forward to is electing people that are maybe not career politicians at this point.
Yeah, I think that's definitely. I think there's, I think the whole, anti, seeing this government blow up, right, in terms of size, and seeing the way healthcare was passed, I think was a little bit, seeing the way that went down, I think is left a pretty bad taste. And I think just you get three things right. I think you've got that, a lot of debt that people are getting, that people are worried about.
Right.
I think people saw the healthcare thing that kind of scared them. I think, ultimately it's their paychecks and their pay, saying, hey, what, we've done all this stuff. We don't have jobs, and actually it's kind of flat. And I think that one lady said, hey, I'm going back to beans and hot dogs, and is this my new reality?
Exactly. Exactly.
A lot of America is facing that right now. So I think those three things together, right, are making it very tough, right, for those who voted for bigger government, those who passed the health care. I think it's just making them very, very tough. This election cycle.
I agree. Well, we're about to get off the air here soon. I wanted you to again remind people to go check out the website where you were nominated this year as an outstanding Hispanic on the Americano.com website. Can you give them I guess I just gave it to them anyway. Give them the website address and let them know to nominate you and how long they have to do that.
Sure. So it's theamericano.com, TheAmericano.com, Forum 2010. I'm sorry, it's theamericano.com/Forum 2010/outstandinghispanic.html. So that's where they can go on there. And then there's more information about the gala, registration info of the hotel. I mean, the event will be December 2nd and 3rd, and the winner will be flown there with a guest. So it should the honor to represent Michigan and all the various organizations that and I support part of this effort. But all that aside, Wayne, more importantly, I want to thank you for all the great work that the show has done. I mean, I think it's been roughly a year, and you have accomplished a lot on this show in just a very short year.
Thank you.
It's amazing to see that kind of, if you've been able to accomplish this much in a year, what the next several years are going to bring for you. So it's been an honor to be on your show a couple times, and look forward to celebrating multiple anniversaries with you, man.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Without people like yourself, this show doesn't get done. And like I said, as a friend, you've been very encouraging and helped pushing me along here. So I appreciate that. You're welcome on the show anytime, and I look forward to having you back on the show, Dave.
Well, excellent, Wayne. Well, thank you so much. Have a great day.
You have a blessed day too, my friend.
All right, take it easy, man.
Bye-bye. All right, so that was David Olivencia. I want you, again, make sure you go to the website, theamericano.com, and vote for the Outstanding Hispanic Award. David, again, he's one of the 5 nominees. This is a very prestigious award, so if you can, check him out on there, and you can read about him and get some history and go ahead and vote for him. So, again, David's been very supportive. He's been one of the people that has been very supportive in pushing me and making sure that I been staying along with the show, staying the course. And again, he's invited me to some great events, allowed me to cover them, and I'm very grateful for that. And again, we all have to work together here as Americans to keep pushing forward. He's not someone. Again, we like to break the stereotypes, and again, he's someone that does that. He's a very successful business person and someone that works hard at what he does. And, again, I want you to go ahead and check him out on the website and vote for him. It'd be a great thing, a very deserving award right there. So my next guest is Don Volaric. He's coming on. He's running for Congress in the 12th District here in Michigan, running against an old veteran, a D.C. A D.C. hack at this point, Sandy Levin. He's been there for over almost 30 years, and again, he's one of the Obama Pelosi cronies, and the man is almost, I believe, 80 years old. It's time for some changes in D.C., and again, he represents part of the old D.C., part of the old regime, Democrat or Republican. Again, it doesn't listen to his constituents, doesn't listen to the people. They have their own liberal agenda set up of what they want to do, regardless of what people in their district are telling them. So, again, it's the people's responsibility to make sure you get to know these candidates and to listen to them and understand where they stand. And it'll also be our responsibility to hold them to their word once we elect these, make them elected officials. So my second guest, again, is Don Volaric. He's running for Congress in the 12th District here in Michigan. I hope you enjoy the interview, and make sure you go to his website and find out more information about Don and give him some support. Here's my interview with Don Volaric. Welcome to Conservatives Cool Talk Radio. This is your host, Wayne Bradley. I've got a special guest here today, a congressional candidate for the 12th District here in Michigan, Don Volaric. Don, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Wayne. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me on, and I want to say hi to all your listeners.
Thank you very much. Now, the first time I met you, I believe it was last year, we were at the Americano conference, and you struck me as someone that was very persistent about, getting your message out, and that always stuck with me. Can you tell the people a little bit about your background and what made you decide to run for Congress?
Yes, thank you. Well, I have a background in the health insurance industry. I own Freedom Health Insurance Agency. It's a small agency. We help the little guys. We help individuals, and we help small businesses that employ under 20 people. And we also, though, insure senior citizens with their Medicare supplements. In fact, that's one of the things I'm most proud of is that our senior agency, is there to help our seniors through this tough time, especially now. And I was a gentleman that called up Sandra Levin because my business is in his district because I thought they wanted to fix health insurance. And they pretty much told me, Don, we know who you are, but we have our own agenda. Thanks, but no thanks. And now here we are. So that was really the main reason how I got involved. That it was just one of those moments where if I didn't do it, who was going to step up and take on this gentleman that I felt was going to take away not only a lot of future in the free market, but also a lot of future of our children that now are in debt to a point to where that, when's it going to stop?
Right. Now, would that be the first issue that you would tackle once elected to Congress?
I think probably the first issue that I would tackle is, because of what I do, is to repeal Obamacare. I mean, there are some things in the bill here that I don't think that we're going to just totally be able to throw it away and rewrite it, but we can definitely add some amendments to this bill so that it can actually be an insurance reform bill that actually helps bring down the cost of health insurance for those that actually have health insurance, because that's what this whole thing was supposed to be about. It was supposed to be about, bringing down the cost of health insurance. Instead, it became an entitlement bill.
Right. So someone like yourself who has obviously has the healthcare background, what do you see are the positives and I guess some positives and some negatives of this bill?
Well, the positives are, we should have had preventive care, as something that was just part of every insurance policy, because it's always better to, catch a problem up front before it becomes a serious problem. So that should have been a part of health insurance from day one. There's also parts of the bill where, I do believe that for someone to be able to qualify for Medicaid, it shouldn't be that you have to be, bring everything down to the poverty level, because at that point, when you have to lose everything, really almost become a warden of your parents to be able to get some help. At that point, I'm not sure health insurance means that much to you. So we do need to work on that as well. But there's also things like, we should have had all of our records digitalized a long time ago. Why we have to pay for that now as citizens, I don't understand that, but it is something that needs to be done. So those are a few things right there that are positive.
Right.
But there are plenty of negatives.
Okay. And what do you look at as the most glaring negatives of this health care bill?
Well, the one most glaring negative is that, they're basically looking to the industry and saying, okay, we're going to tell you how to run your business, and we're going to tell you that you have to spend X amount of dollars towards claims, and you have X amount of dollars to work with. Well, that X amount of dollars that they get to work with is about half of what they've normally worked with in the past, and they're going to put 150 more regulations on top of that. So, this is just another way of killing the industry from the inside out. So we have to be serious about it first, and that would be the first thing I would tackle, is at least giving the private sector a chance to survive. Because right now, the rules are, it's definitely a slow death, and that's what's going to happen for sure.
Right.
Guarantee it.
Now, your opponent, Sandy Levin, did he support this bill?
Yes, definitely. In fact, he probably voted first.
Okay.
Definitely, yes.
Has he been willing to debate with you at all during this campaign election? So he has.
Well, we've called him out, and if this debate is about inexperience, and if that obviously is something that he has over me as far as being a Washington elitist, then I don't know why he wouldn't want to debate me. We do have one scheduled. There is a 9/12 debate scheduled on, I think, October 19th in Southfield, but so far he's MIA. I'm definitely going to be there. We'll see if he's there.
Okay, excellent. And what are some of the other issues, I guess, you're going to be facing going into Congress? Where do you stand on the immigration issue, and what do you think we need to do to tighten up the security at our borders? Well,
immigration is definitely a federal issue, and it's definitely not a state issue. It's sad that it's become a state issue because, if our administration doesn't understand that we need to protect our borders, then we've elected some people that don't get it. Bottom line, if it says illegal immigration, it's illegal. So I want to make sure that when people have the ability to come to this country, that they'll be able to do it legally, because this is one of the only countries that you can do that. But illegal immigration is and it's sad that the federal government doesn't understand that they need to protect our borders. In fact, that's their number one job, is to protect our borders. And unfortunately, they're not doing that.
What do you think, have you attended any of the Tea Party rallies, and what do you think their effect has been on this current election cycle?
Well, yes, I've been to quite a few, and it just depends on which ones that you go to. I mean, it's almost one of these deals where, everyone is very passionate right now about what's going on, because in your First Amendment, it says that you have the right to assemble. In fact, I'm not against unions. I mean, that's part of the First Amendment, the right to assemble.
Right.
And, that's what this is. The Tea Parties are just people that have tried to contact their congressman or their senator, and, when they get that generic letter or that generic email that really doesn't even address what they even talked about, then, your only other choice is to make a phone call. That doesn't work, and then after that, you start talking to your neighbors, and next thing you know, you get a Tea Party, and because they know if they assemble that the media will come, and, that's the way I look at this. It's just a lot of everyday people that are saying, hey, I need to be heard because I'm worried. I'm worried about my children.
Right.
I'm worried about the future of this country.
Now, your opponent, he's been in office for over 30 years. Do you see yourself will you be a better communicator with your constituents, with the people? Because obviously, I think when people are in office that long, they get lazy, they get complacent. Do you obviously make the commitment and promise to be a better in contact and communications with your constituents?
I promise that from my heart. In fact, I'll promise right now that I won't serve more than 5 terms or 10 years. I will never get caught up into human nature, and that is true. In the Constitution, it says if you are anything for any time, and such as, a congressman for almost 30 years, as Mr. Senator Levin, you forget why you're there. He's forgot that the job title is to serve the people or to be a servant to other people, and it'll be my pleasure. In fact, I will hold town hall meetings, at least every month, if not even sooner than that at the beginning. I want people to know what it's like to have representation. Our district deserves better. We have the worst economy here in the 12th District. We are number one at one thing, I will tell you that. Senator Levin is number one. He's number one at having the worst district out of 435. We have lost more money per capita than any district in the United States of America. The 12th District holds that. Basically what it comes down to, if this was a job, which technically it is, and it should be based on the economy of your district, he needs to be fired.
Right, definitely. And what do you take on some of these other issues that obviously are moving close to the agenda as far as spending? What do you think we need to do to get this country back on track as far as the way we spend, and what programs do you think we could look at to change?
Well, there are so many things from the federal side that they have just stepped out of their boundaries. I mean, we need to cut a lot of these special interest groups that we have that supposedly need to look over the private sector. I mean, even as far as, the education department on the federal side. Since when does the federal government need to overlook our children?
Right.
That needs to be done on a state or down to a local level. I mean, they have so much room our federal government grew at 25% in the last 2 years in the worst economy since the Great Depression. I mean, how does that make any sense? That doesn't make any sense. In fact, the federal government should have reduced in size by 25% in the last 2 years if you really wanted to be in touch with your, population, because look at where we're at.
Right.
The only way that we can get out of this is real, it's been proven over and over again. The federal government does not create jobs. The federal government needs to create an economy. The private sector creates jobs. The federal government needs to create a confidence within the private sector so that they'll go out there and step off that cliff. Right now, that cliff looks mighty far down, and no one can see the bottom.
Right.
And that's just all there is to it. And, look at what's happened. We spent, $1 trillion. I mean, I don't know about you, but I don't see, help wanted around here. I see for lease, for sale.
Right.
And it's an issue. And the only way to do it is we need to get some people that understand who Main Street is. Main Street is the families.
Right.
That's who Main Street is. And the United States of America is all about Main Street. But if we don't elect people that understand what Main Street is, you get an elitist. And right now, that's what the situation is. If you got a lot of money, this isn't a bad environment to be in.
Right.
But if you're the 80% of the people that hire people in America, the small business person, we're in a nightmare environment. And it's just not going to work out until we make some changes, and that's what we got to do come November 2nd. In fact, Wayne, we need your help. We need your help to reach out to your audience, and if they can, find out for themselves what it would be worth to get rid of Sandra Levin, because right now we have them on the run. We have them right where we want them, and with some small donations, $10, $20 from a few more people, we'll be able to take care of this problem.
What's your website address so people can go on there, obviously help donate to the campaign and see and look at your platform and your more information about you?
No problem. It's simple. It's Vote Volaric, VOLARIC.com. We also have a website, do that, is actually for the people, because we talked to so many people and it was the same story over and over again. And it's firelevin.com.
I like that.
Website. It's for the people. That has nothing to do with me. And, we're just more than happy and, feel honored to be able to give the 12th District and Michiganders what they deserve. And that's to be represented, to be able to actually come home every Thursday after I'm done up in Washington and come back to my state and then leave Monday night and then go to Washington, because I'm coming home every weekend to be here.
Right.
And you need to ask Sandra Levin about that. Is that something that he does? I'm not sure about that, but that's another story.
Yeah, he's pretty cozy in D.C.
Sure is.
He's very cozy in D.C. right now. Also for people listening in, you've obviously made it clear where with your background, your healthcare background. Give people the defining differences between you and your opponent, and so they can obviously make the best decision for themselves.
Well, no problem. I appreciate that question. That's a great question. Well, besides the obvious, me being 48 and he being almost 80, I feel this is a hobby for him, and this will be my job, and I will do the job. Between the two of us, real simple. I'm a conservative. I'm fiscally conservative. I'm socially conservative. I believe in empowering people. He doesn't believe in that. I'm not going to save you from yourself.
Right.
I'm just going to make sure that you have enough public awareness that you can make the right choices. Yeah. I'm not going to tax you to where that life is, just tough from day to day. Sandra Levin believes that government knows best. He believes that, you can't take care of yourself. And at this point, after 3 decades of, him being in power, he's just out of touch. And that's the bottom line.
Right.
He is just out of touch. And at this point, this isn't about R's and D's, Republicans and Democrats. This is about America.
Right.
And I'm here to serve the people. The chair is not a Democratic seat. It's not a Republican seat. It's the people's seat. And here again, that's the difference between us. I understand the job title. He doesn't get it.
Well said. Well said. Well, give people again the website address so they can go on there and check out your campaign and support it and get involved and let's help get Levin out of here. Give them the website address one more time, Don.
You got it, buddy. It's Vote Volaric. It's Volaric, VOLARIC, and it's .com. VoteVolaric.com, and if you want, hey, check out FireLevin.com because you can help there. And here again, small donations. We don't want anything crazy, just whatever anyone can afford. It won't take much now. We got them right where we want them, and let's see what happens. I never expected to be leading from the beginning. I expected to steal it at the end. So let's see what we can do, and thank you, and God bless.
Thank you very much, Don. God bless you, and good luck here in the last couple of weeks. We really need you in D.C.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye now.
So that was Don Volaric, who is running again for Congress in the 12th District here in Michigan. I want all my friends over there in Southfield and, who I know are, paying attention to the voting out here, especially all my buddies over there. Make sure you listen to Don Volaric, check him out. I encourage you to vote for him. I mean, we need change here in Michigan. The current administration and the people in charge now are the same people that have been running America into the ground. And this is, again, before even Obama became president. You had a lot of these guys that are in Congress and Senate, like the Harry Reids or, Pelosi, John Dingell. Dingell, the family has held that seat for almost 60 years. So, I mean, again, that's something you have to look at. We really need change here in Michigan. We need change throughout the country, and we need to start looking at people, stop looking at their last name and things of that nature, and look at what they've done for this state and for their constituents. A lot of these guys have name recognition, and that, again, those are the things. Sandy Levin has name recognition. He hasn't done anything in a very long time, but he has name recognition. John Conyers, Hanson Clark. These are all people that, again, they have the name recognition, but they're basing a lot of what they're doing off their name and not off of their actual record of the things they've accomplished. So, again, I just encourage people to take more of a listen to, pay more attention to the people we're voting for and don't be wild by their last name or maybe by one accomplishment. I think you need to really, really pay attention in this election. 2010 is a very important year. The future, our kids' futures are very important and relying on us to make the right decisions right now. So I can't, again, I encourage people enough to listen to the candidates on both sides. So all my liberal friends out there that, sit there and say, I won't vote for Republican, I would encourage you at this point, this is the best time to do it. You have a lot of people that are not even, though they're Republican on the ticket, they're not loyal to the party, they're loyal to the people. And again, that's what you're looking for right now. You're not looking for people that are going to just run with the president because most of the people that we have right now have shown no backbone when it comes to keeping the president in restraint when it comes to some of these wild policies and the big spending that's going on in D.C. And that's what we need right now. We don't need another right-hand man of the president. We need someone that's going to tell the president no. Let's get this right before we pass this bill, and things of that nature. We're not going to we're not going to spend more than we don't have. Again, if this is me or you people, we can't print money. We can't print money and we can't get bailed out. So understand that they look at life from a very different spectrum than we do. A lot of these guys were there when these bailouts were being done, and these were their friends. And again, the banks support both sides of the aisle. They're not Republican or Democrat. They're about whoever's going to get their policy passed. And again, these people have sold us out for those people. And that's, again, they don't get that job. They can't get in the position to get sold out to sell us out if we don't vote for them in the first place. We need to vote for men of integrity, men that are going to, again, be honest, transparent. Justin Amash, who's running, I believe, in the 2nd District, he posts everything he does on Facebook. That is the kind of transparency. He'll be running for Congress, too. That is the kind of transparency that you need here, moving forward, our leaders and our elected officials. So I want to, make sure I stress that to people, regardless of where you live. You might know someone that lives here in this area, and you heard the show. Make sure you call your friends, your family, your neighbors, and make sure that you're spreading the word about the right candidates, so they can help get America back on track and get things in the right direction again. Because again, we're lacking that because a lot of our leaders are afraid to stand up to whether it be someone inside the party, a leader, one of their leaders. And in this case, you have the Congress who won't have any backbone to step up to Obama, except a few, because that's how they've ran their campaign. They're actually bragging about it now, but most of them just did what the president wanted, and now they won't run on it. They won't brag about this health care bill they passed, cap and trade. They're not bragging about any of this stuff. They're trying to make people not believe or think that that's what they did, but that's what they did. They supported a lot of the bad policies that are in place now that are going to get a lot of these liberals out of office here in 2010 and definitely in 2012. So I think that is moving forward. That's what they've got to do. They've got to, at this point, we've got about 3 weeks left. It's going to be very interesting to see how it pans out on a national level. But I think here in Michigan, between our governor and our, and people in power already that does such a bad job, in particular our governor, Gary Peters here in the 9th District, people that have not represented their district and the needs and desires of the constituents here are going to pay with their jobs in 2010 and in 2012. So, again, pay close attention to all the Congress races, and if you can, support these people. Support them by sending $5 or $10. Again, it makes a difference when they're trying to do these advertisements and campaigns and marketing strategies to help get the word out there, and that's what they need. That's what they're fighting, a war against someone that has a $2 million war chest and guys who can have President Obama come in and raise money for them for the evening. And, again, keep the same bad stuff in place, and that's why Obama doesn't have a problem coming into some of these areas and raising money for these guys, because he knows that they're in his back pocket, and that's what they're relying on. So let's get these guys out of here. We don't want people that favor either party. We want people that favor people, and that's what I want to see, regardless of what side of the aisle they stand on, Republicans or Democrats. We need people that are going to stand up for the people and not be a slave to the party. So I want to thank everyone that's been listening. We're moving very closely. Like David said, we're moving almost to a year anniversary to my show. That'll be November 17th, and we're going to be celebrating a year anniversary that night. And I believe at that time I'm going to change the name of the show from the Conservatives Cool Talk Radio to the Wayne Bradley Show. The reasoning behind that, I don't want people thinking I just want to name the show after me. I think that we're going to get be able to get a lot more guests from both sides of the aisle. I think I've scared away a lot of guys that have differing opinions from me, and the liberals in particular. They don't want to come on here because the name of my show is called Conservative is Cool. So I will be changing the show to celebrate the year-long anniversary. I think we're moving forward, and it's like again, we're evolving and growing, and I want to be able to bring on other guests, at least to have them feel welcome from the time they come on. They might not like the questioning and things like that, but I think that we want to make the ideas to have a free-flowing exchange of ideas on how we get this country better. Not to say that every liberal has all bad ideas, so that's the important part of bringing on people on both sides of the aisle to come to the show. So we'll be announcing that, make it official, but November 17th will be my year anniversary, and we'll be changing the name of the show to the Wayne Bradley Show. So I hope that people will listen and join me in on that show. The call-in number is still 347-996-3175. If you're listening in right now and you guys want to comment on that, let me know. What do you think about that? Again, we're thinking about changing the name of the show to the Wayne Bradley Show. And that'll be on the year anniversary. I'm going to try to bring on some really great guests to celebrate the year anniversary, and I'll be replaying some of my my favorite interviews, like ones with Alan West and J.C. Watts and people like that. So I'm going to be, like I said, Saul Newsis. I'm going to be replaying some of my favorite interviews, Pete Hoekstra, and also hopefully have some live guests on that night so we can talk about the plans for the future for the show and things that we're going to, be doing differently. I might be moving to a different time. I want to make it a more consistent time, but I'm thinking about doing it early in the morning so people can have this show to listen to during their work day. And also, on the way to work, but it'll already be uploaded, and we'll talk about the issues of the day and things that people ought to be paying attention to. So, again, we're going to try to evolve with the show, make it grow, be more open to at least bringing on different people. It'll probably be good for the radio show to have some good open debates, because a lot of times right now I've brought on just a lot of the conservative guests, and to be honest, those are the people I'm more in line with. But you also want to have differing opinions and views to make the show more well-rounded and to, again, get the ideas, because that's the idea of the show, is to bring free-flowing ideas from people from both sides and who have different beliefs. I'm a person that has friends that, again, could agree with probably only maybe 5% of the things I say, but they're my friends, and I do value their opinions. And so I think it's important, again, to make it a more inviting show for people to feel free to call in and voice their opinions. I definitely want to hear them. So, I'm looking forward to that. If you haven't been to the website in a while, it's conservativeiscool.com. I encourage you to go check that out. I made a recent rant against Nancy Pelosi and her idea of food stamps being the best way to stimulate the economy, and I made a nice little comment regarding that because it's that kind of thinking that's in D.C. right now that's permeated, and that's the kind of thinking that we got to get out of there. We got to bring in people that are understand the plight of the small businesses and people here on Main Street, not Wall Street, and obviously more entitlement programs at a time when this country is financially strapped is obviously, again, another bad idea. So, again, we have to get these kind of people out of Congress. We have to move forward with smart thinking, independent-minded conservatism. That's what I like. I like to see. I don't mind someone that's willing to stick their neck out against their own party to represent the people and do what's right. And those are the kind of people we have to be looking for on both sides of the aisle to do the right thing. Not necessarily the most popular thing amongst their party, but the thing that's right for the people in their area, for their constituents. And that, again, doesn't entail selling people out for a few pieces of gold, We watched that happen up in Michigan in the Congress, and again, I believe, those are the kind of things we have to change in the 1st District where Bart Stupak, who was a lifetime pro-life person, basically essentially sold out on the health care bill to get it passed, and lo and behold, he doesn't run again. He retired. He'll probably have some comfy position in D.C. or wherever because he was willing to sell out to get that bill passed. And, again, I've had Dr. Dan Benishek on this program before. I hope he follows through on his promises if elected and represents the people and brings some common sense back to D.C. Those are the kind of candidates we need. Alan West is another great example of someone who's going to bring some real common sense, and I'm sure he'll be on the lookout even for some 2012 presidential looks if he continues on the strong path that he's on right now. John Boehner was in town to endorse him, and he told him he wouldn't hesitate to call out John Boehner if he's not, following the Constitution and sticking to conservative principles. So that's the kind of honesty. That's the kind of the kind of person we need representing the people here in America. Not someone that's more willing to represent the party or a few wealthy or well-off people that can potentially influence not only our elections but influence the way all of our elected officials vote. We've seen enough of that in the past, and again, if we want to move forward as a country, we're going to have to start picking our leaders a little more carefully. We're going to have to reevaluate some of the things we want from them and what we expect out of our elected officials. I think sometimes we're looking for that perfect person, and that person does not exist. Now it goes on both sides of the aisle. Conservatives are looking for someone that's the perfect person on perfect rating on everything. And again, those are the things that are important, but we need people that are going to get things done. We need to look at voting records, what they've accomplished, whether it be in government or in the private sector. We need people that are results-orientated and not talk. Those are the things we're going to have to really pay attention to here moving forward. So I want to thank everyone again for listening to Conservatives Cool Talk Radio. It's been a great ride here in the last year doing this show, and I really look forward to doing it again and moving further along here in the next year. Again, we're going to be changing the name of the show, maybe changing some of the format, but it's going to still be a great thought-provoking radio show. Again, meant to make people think on both sides of the aisle and make us look closer at the candidates and the people we're choosing as elected officials, because it's been Republicans and Democrats that have let us down here, and I think we have to do a better job of calling out both sides of the aisle if we want to be productive and really get results out of our elected officials. It's more about results now than it's going to be about rhetoric and empty promises. We're looking for results-oriented people, and again, maybe look at people that are pushing for term limits, because that's going to let you know how serious they are about being a D.C. insider or not. And again, I can't stress that enough. So thank you for everyone that was listening in today. The website is conservativescool.com. If you ever want to donate, we have a donate section. And I thank everyone that's listened to the first year. I look forward to doing it again. God bless you.